What's up everyone, hope y'all are doing well. Welcome to episode 4 of the custom S-10 crew cab build. In this video, we're going to be stripping down the rest of the frame so we can get it blasted. We need to get this thing stripped down and blasted to assess the condition of everything, just to get an idea of what we're getting ourselves into as far as fixing, fabrication, welding, and all of that kind of stuff. If you guys remember in the last episode where we took the body off of the frame, I showed you how this frame was put together as well as how the chassis was fabricated, and there's still some work that needs to be done, but obviously this is the first step, a good thorough cleanup. This video is sponsored by Lexol Leather Cleaner and Conditioner. They've been a huge supporter of the channel, so huge thanks to them. You're probably wondering though, what in the world does leather have to do with tearing down a rusty frame? Well, I bought another parts truck. Because it has a near mint condition dark charcoal leather interior with good condition trim, carpet, and all of that. So instead of me trying to collect all of these individual parts and take up valuable room in the shop, we can leave everything right here until we're ready for it. But we still want to make sure that everything stays in good condition, so that's where Lexol is going to come into play. We're going to talk more about them a little bit later in the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, we gotta get this thing on some jack stands. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab a few more tools, but while I'm getting all that stuff, go ahead and soak everything in a generous amount of PB Blaster to see if we can loosen up some of these bolts that don't look like they've ever been taken off of the truck before. I'm running into the same problem I ran into on that red S-10 right there. These things are so rusty. I couldn't even use the little holder up here to try to brace it and crack that nut. It is frozen solid. Alright, well, I'd say that was pretty worn out, huh? Here goes the other piece of it. Now we're going to go ahead and get this sway bar out of the way. We got to drop the end links and then the bushings. Now we're just going to repeat the process on this side, get the caliper and rotor off, get the shock off, and then we can start tackling these coil springs. I got lucky with this one. I think it's going to be loose enough that we won't have to do any medieval cuttage on this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the steering box and linkages. I'm going to first pop the tie rod ends right there, undo these 3 bolts for the steering box, and the last 2 are over here, and this entire linkage assembly should come out as one piece. That's one way to do it. If you're reusing those, don't do that. We're not, so it's okay. Well, that's not right. Let's see. I guess that castle nut's frozen on there. All right, I have to cut that off too. That'll work. Probably should have braced that. Word to the wise, brace your steering setup before you undo the box, because there's nothing else holding it on. Sweet. All right, that's one side done. Right now I'm working on compressing the coil springs. I just got this special tool from my local O'Reilly Auto Parts. Basically, there's these two hooks in here that you secure to an upper part of the spring. You put this plate on the lowest spring possible and then tighten it up slowly from there, and it basically sandwiches the spring and takes the tension off of it, because if you try to pop this ball joint or take a control arm off without it compressed, you can really hurt yourself or do some serious damage, because there's so much pressure on that spring, it can just go away from the vehicle, and you obviously don't want that. I'm having a tough time getting the castle nut off of that lower ball joint. It's just spinning inside, so I guess it's broken. So I'm just going to take the lower control arm off from the back and lower it down this way and just figure out how to get the spindle off later. Only 3 hours later. That up there was an utter fiasco. That legitimately took 3 hours?
2 hours.
It was, jeez. I don't know what happened, but that bolt going through that lower control arm was seized up, frozen in there. I don't know if the inner sleeve of the bushing rusted to it or something, but I had to cut that thing all to pieces, and it still wouldn't come out. I had to pry bar that thing. In case you guys are new to the series, I talked in the last video about how the frame was put together and how the cab was fabricated. The front half of this frame is actually from a first generation or square body S-10 Blazer. The back half is from an early second gen S-10 pickup, so like 94 through 97. So it's pretty interesting how they put this thing together. I'm still trying to come up with like a set direction for it. I'm kind of leaning towards doing like a bagged mini truck build. I've seen several of these crew cab concoctions with like that mindset, and they just look so cool. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I definitely don't want to do some sort of off-road build because it's a two-wheel drive chassis, but you know, bagged mini truck or something with a little bit of performance and sport. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All the way. Whoop. God, this is a lot heavier than it looks. Why are you picking it up by yourself?
Because I thought I was supposed to.
Nope. You gonna put it down now, or you gonna try to be a hero?
I'm just gonna hold on to it for a while.
Let me come help you. I'm dropping a lot of stuff today. Looks like we got a couple bushings. And the frame back here is gonna have to be pushed out. Huh. As you might have guessed by the end of last clip, yesterday wasn't going exactly as planned. So I decided to take a break, regroup, and figure out some stuff so I know what to do to just get everything wrapped up so we can finally get that thing blasted. But I'm gonna take a quick break, talk about this parts Jimmy a little bit. I'll give you guys a quick look at everything that it's gonna have to offer, not just the crew cab, but possibly the red S-10 as well. But once again, a huge thanks to Lexol for their support with the channel. They've recently undergone a rebranding process and introduced brand new logos, which I find super cool. They're kind of vintagey, which makes sense because Lexol's been making products now for over 85 years. There's also new packaging, which makes application a whole lot easier. I've been using Lexol products on my personal vehicles now for many years, so it really is an honor to be able to work with them and generate some cool content for you guys. This thing has 194,000 miles on it. For old seats, they're pretty nice. I haven't done anything to them up to this point. They can use a little bit of love, a little bit of refinishing and stuff, but the structures, the cushions, there's no tears or anything like that. It's a great starting point. There's genuine leather on the door panels as well. All of it is in really, really good shape. Just needs a good thorough cleaning. The back seat is absolutely flawless. So we can just drop that in and not have to worry about it at all. Lexol's two-step cleaning and conditioning process is as simple as it gets. You take your cleaner, pop the cap, pour the desired amount on a rag or a sponge, and just go to town. Make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies and just wipe away the excess afterwards. Once you're done, you're ready to condition. Just repeat the process with a clean towel, pour the conditioner on, and just massage it in and wipe away the excess afterwards. Once it dries, you'll notice there's no oily residue or anything like that, which is one thing that I really like about this product. It keeps the leather looking fresh and new without the messiness afterwards. Alright, so now that the leather is taken care of, we can go ahead and jump back over to the crew cab, but I do have one more quick question I want to pose to you guys. Whenever I start working on that red S-10, I wanted to do some little fancy things to the interior to give it a little bit of extra luxury that it didn't have before, but I also wanted to keep things period correct. So I had an idea. In that last video that I made of talking about, you know, the ball joint snapping and everything that was wrong with it, I mentioned that the front doors were pretty rusted out. They needed to be replaced. Well, I can use these doors. They're in fantastic shape, but these doors have power locks and windows. I have a trim panel for that door to get rid of the 4 switches and make it 2 switches. So what I thought about doing is taking these door panels, direct swapping them over to the red S-10 and wiring up the power windows and locks. So if I remember correctly, the trim plate that I have, instead of the switches facing out this way, it'll be flat across with just 2 switches right there. I don't know how crazy of an install that would be. I'll look it up and find more out about it, but I think that would be really cool. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take all of the guts out of this door, put the manual mechanism back in, and it just seems like a tremendous amount of work when we have this opportunity to do something cool. Here's where we left off yesterday. We have to get these upper shackle bushings out that are in the frame. They are ridiculous to get out, especially if it's a northern vehicle. Thankfully, this one wasn't an issue as far as removing the bolt and stuff like that lower control arm up there was. Good gracious. So I haven't been able to track down the right tool, the bushing tool, to be able to pop this bushing out. So we're just going to use what we have. Honestly, with the suspension that I'm thinking about getting for this truck, I'm not gonna be using leaf springs anyway, so I'm probably not even gonna need this, but we still want to get it out for prepping the frame and doing all of that kind of stuff. So basically what I'm gonna do is go ahead and apply heat to the bushing and try to burn as much of the outsides of it as I can. That will heat up the inner portion to where I can use the ball joint set to go ahead and just push that inner sleeve out. Once that's out, I'll just burn the rest of the rubber out there. That's what I did on the other side, and it worked out okay. But then we still have to get that outer sleeve out, and because I don't have the right tool, it's really hard to do. So I just took an air hammer, I took my grinder, cut some little slits in it and stuff just to try to break some of the tension, work that air hammer all the way around there to where it compresses enough to where you can just pull it out. It's a bit of a process, but hey, it works. I'm actually shocked. These body mount supports are in really, really good shape. I don't think we're gonna have to need to do any kind of metal repair on these, unlike the ones that were on that red S-10. You know, the bushings are toast, but the frame is awesome. It's sweet. Clean as can be. That's loose. I just gotta trace these back through the frame. One more little hiccup we'll just have to figure out later on. In the first video, I mentioned that the motor mounts were relocated to accommodate an LS. It actually seems like the whole front cross member has been modified. There are swap kits out there to be able to adapt an LS or a 350 using, I believe, the S-10's regular stuff. But anyway, whoever or somebody in the past has modified the cross member, I guess, to accommodate the oil pan and obviously put the motor mounts up front here. But because of where the motor mounts are, where these brake lines are coming out, there's not enough room to, there's really not enough room to fit the hoses in there, let alone trying to get this little plastic clip, which has already broken. So we're gonna need new brake lines anyway. So So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the ends of these so I had enough room to get this clip out so I can pull the rest of the lines out. But, you know, just little things to figure out. Hey, I think this carrier bearing, I think it's kind of done.
Looks fine to me.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to be used. Gotta love rust. That's junk too. Frame is stripped and it's looking really, really good. It's a very, very solid foundation, all things considered. So now we just have to get this thing on my trailer. Alright guys, we're here, ready to get the frame blasted. So basically they're just going to do the top, then flip it over, do the bottom, make sure they're getting all the crevices and stuff, you know, the portions of the frame that aren't boxed. But yeah, so it's going to be really cool to see how this thing turns out. This thing is looking fantastic. I cannot believe this is the same frame. Woo! As you guys saw earlier, I didn't really explain it. They're using like a really fine, if my camera focuses, there we go. It's like fine metal particles. Really, really cool, but it has gotten this frame so smooth, so clean. It's awesome. It almost looks like it's been painted. It's just so bright and silver. I can't believe it. It's wonderful. So once this thing gets back to the shop, we can carve a little space for it where we can just put it on jack stands and work on it here and there, make sure we take our time, do things right. First thing, or you know, once we figure out the suspension, is to make sure that where the two frames were grafted together, that everything is nice and secure, put in some extra reinforcement plates, maybe even box in this frame a little bit more just to give it some extra support. Golly, I'm so excited for this. Also, in case anybody was wondering, after we finish all of the fabrication, reinforcement, and suspension fitting, the plan is to get this entire frame powder coated. So it'll probably be like a satin black, semi-gloss black, or something like that, but a really, really nice, beautiful, durable coating to where we don't have to worry about rust or anything like that. And it's just gonna make it look awesome. Well guys, we're back at the shop with the frame and it's looking great. The tentative plan for now is to put the frame in the right side of the shop where the Chevelle currently is. I thought about putting it at the back, but then to work on it, I would need to get that side wired up with electric and lights and all of that. But if I put it at the front and the Chevelle at the back, we can always bring it outside to work on it if we need to. So anyway, I'll figure that out. There's still a bunch of junk in there, so I can't get it in there right now anyway. So it is gonna have to sit outside overnight until we can come back tomorrow and get that taken care of, but I'm not gonna film all that stuff. But anyway, important thing to remember, this needs to be covered. I have some like underhouse black tarping plastic stuff to lay over this because if moisture gets on this frame as it is right now, it will rust like immediately. So we still have to get this thing powder coated later. It's gonna have to get a once over before that's done, but Still, we don't want it to get all corroded and stuff, because that's why we did the whole blasting process in the first place. One thing's for sure though, we got a fantastic starting point for building this truck, because the frame is actually in really good shape. We can give it some love here and there, but I'm really looking forward to diving into the suspension. That's really going to shape the entire character and direction of this build, so keep an eye out for that. I'll keep you guys posted through all of the social media channels as normal. If you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so, because obviously we have a lot more where that came from, not just with this, but all of the other projects as well. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like below. It really means a lot. And once again, a huge thanks to Lexol for their support with this video and the channel as a whole. For more information about their leather cleaner and conditioner, check out the link in the description box below. That's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get this frame covered up before it gets dark. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.